Alright, welcome along. My name's Bosh. This is Bosh's Ableton Beginner Bits, and today we're going to look at hi-hats. Now, this is the second video I've done on hi-hats. I'm going to put a link to the first one down below. The first one I did it when I was in Austria, so I was on the move. My production value's gone up a little bit, I'd like to say. But what we're going to look at today, it's kind of like carrying on from that video. So go watch the first video and then come back to this one, because this one kind of picks up from where the other one left off. So I've written some notes again as well, and let's see if we can get you some quality hi-hat rhythms and just get everything sounding a bit more natural and with a bit more of a groove to it. The first thing I'm going to say is that I would recommend having at least 2 hi-hat tracks. Minimum 2 hi-hat tracks. You cannot create, I'm saying that, I'm sure you can, but it's going to be a lot easier and a lot more effective if you have multiple hi-hat tracks. And I'm talking, say, let's have one track where it's your hi-hat's only going to be hitting on the 1 and the 3 of the bar, 4 beats in your bar, and then you're going to slowly fill the gaps. That's the method I like to use. So I'll start off with a really sparse set of hats, very basic, and then I'll fill them in with more hats as we go. Things like shakers and stuff. Now in this video what I've done is I've got 2, you can see here I've got 2 hi-hat tracks. We've got some that are a little bit more, that's all I can really, they're a bit more of a fuller sound, that's why I've labelled it more. And then there's one called less, where they're a bit more like ding, like so a lot shorter hats. And I'm just going to demonstrate, I'm going to go through, I've made a few patterns here. I'm going to go through and explain each one and kind of what each one achieves. And then I've layered them up with just a kick and a snare for each one, just so you can hear it in context. I'm doing this around 130 BPM. This is going to be aimed more towards making dub reggae. So it's going to be sparse. There's not going to be loads of hats going on. The music I make is dub, but I like to think of it as like a bastardized version of dub, where I've kind of brought it into present day, fused it with dubstep. I don't really know what my style is, but I'm going to show you how to do the hi-hats for said style. So let's get into it. I've been waffling too much. The first one, let's just play the first one and see how it sounds. Now this pattern would be suited more towards your dubstep side of things than dub. Not saying you couldn't use it in dub, but I just feel like there's a bit more in it and it's a bit more suited to the more modern dubstep sound. But it's at 130, so I'm still going to break it down. So let's listen to the more track first. Nothing to it, just all the samples have been taken from Ableton again, none of my own samples here. So that's the basic loop, and then you're going to have another one where you're going to fill the gaps. And that's only 1 bar, and when you put it all together, already having 2 sets of hats gives you a bit more fullness in the sound, I think. You can equally pan them as well. So if you pan one a little bit left and one a little bit right, you'll start to get separation and you'll start to get that sort of dancing, kind of jumping around sound where your hats sound a bit fuller, a bit more like they're actually taking up different areas of space in the mix. I'm so bad at explaining this stuff. I don't know why am I doing this YouTube channel? So pan them as well. So all I've done here really is looked to fill gaps. So let's stop this and then start this one again and listen how it fills. Now what I'd do here, you can do anything really. Let's take some of these out. Let's do something like that. It's all about experimentation. I'm not going to give you like a surefire thing of what 100% works, because this loop might not sound good, but it might sound good if I change the samples. You know what I mean? Like the samples might not be right. So I've got like a hatty, very, very hatty sort of sound, but you could have a really like a really tight hi-hat, a shaker, something like that. So it's not always the loop and the rhythm that's causing the problem. Sometimes it can be the samples within the sort of pattern that you've already made. So that's on it. So let's go back to the one with the gaps. Let's up the volume a little bit on this. And then let's bring in the other bit. Now what I'm going to do is highlight these second ones, Control C, Control V, right arrow, and then we've got another one added on the end there. I'm going to do that. So because you go. Yeah, so that's another idea. Let's grab all these and shift them that way. So again, I'm going to take out the fillers. You've just got your normal. And then put them together. Just having two different sounding sets of hi-hats already creates movement and creates feeling rather than it just being like 2 or 3 set hi-hats all in one. Have them overlapping. Some of them play at the same time, some of them don't. All that kind of business. Let's put the kick and the snare in just to hear it in context. Yeah, not bad that. Now what I would do, I do what I guess you could call subtractive production. From here, I would start to remove things to make a more interesting groove again. So I'm going to take out the middle one here. I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to take out the middle one there. Let's just see how that sounds. Now, the clever thing about this pattern here, where it leads into the snare or where the kick is, it's a bit weird to explain, but it's pulling you into that next beat. So the dum. So let me take these out. It brings you in. The only way I can explain it, it's a terrible way to explain it, but it pulls you into the next beat. It brings you into it. Dum. That's the only way I can say it. It brings you into it. It pulls to the next beat. Again, another way you can show this with a shuffle as well. So I'm just going to shorten these. I'm using Alt and click to drag and make those shorter. And then let's play it, but I'm going to hold Alt and push these 2 notes off to the side to make it shuffled. And let's just have a listen to see how it affects. Right, I'm going to start moving them now. Already, it's giving you that pulling you into. I can't think of a better way to describe it. It's pulling you into the next beat. Rhythmically, it pulls. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'd do with that. Let's move on to the next one. I'm just going to fly through these. Let's play it all together. Okay, so I've switched it up here. I started out with, let's delete these for now. I started out with just these offbeat hats here. Listen on their own. Now this is the same pattern that I used in the first one. Remember what I did is I've added this interest here on the original hats. So one thing you can do is take your basic loop. Remember I just said we've got a basic loop and then a filler loop that fills in the gaps. In your basic loop, do just one little section of variation, like on the screen there, just a little section there. I would even be tempted to only do it once in maybe 4 bars. Yeah, like that. So you've got one piece of variation in 4 bars in your original loop, and then the rest of it's filler. Let's have a listen. And then you've got a 4-bar loop that can be repeated and has something that changes it. So that's one thing to do. Make your really basic loop. Make your filler loop and then add variation to your basic loop instead. There's another way to do it. Let's listen in context again. All right, I think that's a good enough one for that one. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so we're getting more towards now this one, because it's got even less going on. I would say it would be more suited towards a more traditional dub reggae sound. The problem I'm having with this channel is some people are here for dubstep, some people are here for dub reggae. I'm somewhere in the middle, and I'm getting some people who are like, listen, this and this in authentic, da, da, da. I sit in the middle somewhere. Let's have a look at this. Let's break this down. Now, I believe here, yeah, I've changed it. So the one where it says less, that is now my simple loop. Hats on the 1 and 3. Those hats are going to hit in the same place in the kick as the kick and the snare do. But in between that, we've got a very simple filler. Let's put it with the drums. Yeah, and again, we started out a bit faster, well, not faster, but a bit like double timed. We've slowed it down now, so we are going a bit more towards your traditional dub reggae sound. Now, the variation in this doesn't really have a pattern. It's just kind of loose bits here and there. Loads of space at the end of this second and fourth bar here for additions. Let's go to the next one. All right, real simple this one, and again, something like this would be a great starting point for dub, the actual authentic dub. And I've just got a 1 and a 3 hat here, very simple. And then I've just done my offbeat with the other hats. It says shuffle there, it's not shuffled, ignore that. Now I can shuffle this. I would go so I'd go hi-hat them. Select them, not hi-hat them. Now I'm going to expand this a little bit further. Let's duplicate it. I'm going to put another one there. Move it across. Yeah. Again, more suited for your generic, like not generic, like your authentic old school dub sound. From there, the way I would make those more authentic is then start to try and degrade the sound, EQing, overdrive, saturation, things like that, to try and get that like 60s, 70s reggae sound out of these modern samples. See, that bit here sounds a bit robotic, so I'm going to just add a little bit of variation. Yeah, and you've just got a nice thing that can be filled with a piano skank. Skank, 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 skank. Yeah, play around with it. Now, let's see what this last one is I did. What is this? Oh yeah, another shuffled one. So let's listen with the drums here. So this one is it's that leading pattern again, that with the shuffle in it as well. You can see the little gaps in the notes there. I'm just going to highlight these. Alt, don't forget. Don't forget, so Alt and pressing the left and right arrows shifts it without looking at the grid. I need to select them again, sorry, hang on. Yeah, I might put it back to normal. And now I'm going to do the... Let's see what else I can do. Another thing I'd do, I'll tell you what, this is a bit of an older method. I'm going to leave the... Alright, I'm going to leave them. And then I'm just going to draw in mega hats. Now I want to find the one that'll sound best. Yeah. Now, again, this is where I'd start reducing. I'd put all of them in, all the beats in, as many as possible, and then I'd start to reduce it and strip it back until it's got more groove and rhythm. So let's do that now. I'm going to go through, leave it playing. It sounds dead and robotic right now, but I'm going to leave it playing and just take out random ones. I prefer that. Do that and that. And then do a few little velocity changes. And then we can move these ones that are next to each other. So it alternates. We're going to highlight these ones and shuffle them more. Yeah. There's all sorts you can do. I want to stay on hi-hats. I'm not going to go into shakers and percussion on this one as much. I'm just going to stick with hi-hats. What I might do is should we add another one? Let's add another track. So let's make this one more basic. Let's go back to here. What I would do is Control Shift and T, new MIDI track. Get a drum rack in there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an existing kit actually. So let's... Right, let's see what the hi-hats are in here. I like doing that. I like using these kits quite a lot because a lot of people think they're shit, but there's something in there. See, that's a shake. I want to stick to hats. All right. So let's use this hat. Another method. So I was just thinking, as I was doing that, I'm just thinking, what can I add to this? Because it's already got enough rhythm for a dub tune, because dub's slower. You're gonna go to your audio effects. We're gonna grab delay and loop, and we're gonna go echo. And now what I'm gonna do here is put on a 16th note delay. We need to put that straight. Notes. Lower your feedback a little bit. Let's take that dry and wet off. And then I'm just going to put... Where's the hats there? I'm going to do just one of them on every 4. Now, our other thing's shuffled. So let's see if we can change this to triple. No, dotted. Right, so what I've just done there, just in case that were a bit quick for anyone, I've added a shuffled delay onto one of my layers of hi-hats. I'm just playing around with the delay now. Yeah, we want that to be 0 because then it's properly shuffled. And again, we're just adding another layer of hats and rhythm. Now for this, I need to adjust the shuffle on these now. Woo! Yeah, you see what I mean? So I've moved these hats just because they sounded a little bit off. I've moved them to match the delay on these, on this delay for the hi-hat here. Let's have a look at the sample. Let's see if we can alter this sample a little bit. Yeah. Again, we're heading more towards dubstep, but you could definitely make something dubby, like old school sounding dubby with this easily. So I'm gonna now, let's just start with these drums, these kicks and snares. Let's up the volume a little bit. And then what I'm gonna do is add each part bit by bit and let's see what kind of sound it creates. Yeah, let's add the next bit. Alright, it's not bad, but then when we add this delayed one as well, it thickens it right up. Nice. Yeah, does that make sense? Another quite effective one, which I will show you now, is Reverb with a delay on it. Oh, I can't drag that because it's the folder. So we're going to put the reverb in, we're going to take that delay out. So I've decreased the size, which means that in theory the room that you're in this reverb is smaller, is getting a lot smaller. The decay time I'm going to lower quite a bit as well, so it doesn't spread out for as long. I'm going to up the pre-delay to 50 milliseconds. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so let's go 50 milliseconds, and then I'm going to keep upping it, and you'll see how it creates these rhythmical sort of ideas. Let's pair it with the drums. So you see how literally just changing the pre-delay on a reverb can give you different rhythm patterns, but equally you're getting a second hat out of the one hat that you've used. So you use one hat and then put a reverb on it with a pre-delay, that second hat's going to sound different. So let's have another listen. Yeah, you hear that? So you're getting the hit from the hat, and then you're getting the reverb later. So it's which is again a stupid way to explain it, but I hope you get what I mean. Yeah, you can do all sorts with that. That's another really good way to do it. Delays and reverbs are really good to use with hats because every time the hat delays, it sounds slightly different, so you're getting variation. And every time the reverb plays, it's a different sound to the original hat. You're not just getting the replicated sound, it changes slightly. So I think that's a really good thing to use to get used to sort of layering up hats, is to try and put delays and things on there. Let's have a listen. Ooh, got some stank. Well, it still kind of works. And then back to just normal reverb. Delayed. Woo! Yeah. So there are a few different methods you can use with your hi-hats. I hope that helps someone. I'm going to stop there. I think that's all I can do with hi-hats without getting too much into using shakers and using percussion. That's a whole other video that I'll do. Maybe that'll be my next video. Who knows? But my name's Bosh. This has been Bosh's Ableton Beginner Bits. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you.